All right, so let's take a look, see what happened in today's markets. It's Thursday, April 29th, and I'm covering the big news in 5 minutes or less. Now, stocks finished higher today after a wild ride. So what happened? Well, yesterday, markets were waiting for the Fed and President Biden. And as we covered yesterday, the Fed was pretty much a non-event. Markets really seemed to shrug off the news, and they were really barely moving. So then the focus turned to the evening where President Biden was addressing a joint session of Congress where Biden revealed more details of his Build Back Better plan, where he revealed his infrastructure plan a few weeks ago, but then last night it was all about American families and his American Families Plan, focusing on improving healthcare and education, of course, at a big price tag, right? But traders seemed to react positively to the plan, or at least there weren't any major surprises because futures markets were higher after President Biden's proposal. So then we looked at the open, and this morning there was some decent news. In the morning, U.S. First quarter GDP rose to an annualized rate of 6.4%. This was better than the expectation of a 6.1% rise, and growth is expected to pick up in the quarters ahead. Now, unemployment claims actually came in slightly higher than expected. So they were lower than last week, but at 553,000 Americans filing for unemployment last week, this was higher than the 545,000 that was expected. Now let's look at the charts and see what happened today. I'm going to pull up the Dow here, and the Dow finished the day higher, up 0.7%. The S&P was up 0.7% as well, and the Nasdaq was up 0.5%. But there was a lot of movement going on intraday. Let me go to a 5-minute chart, and I'll show you what I mean here. Now, intraday, there really was a slide after the open. Here we see on the far left, this is where the Dow opened, and then there was a slide erasing the day's gains, actually turning negative during the day. Really no catalyst for this. So today there was a bit of a dip, but then markets marched back towards the end of the day. If we go back to a daily chart here, you see that the Dow finished near session highs. The S&P finished above today's open, also finished with a new record close. The Nasdaq opened real strong, opened with new records, but pulled back, still ending the day up 0.5%. Now, after the two biggies this week were out of the way, the real focus today was on earnings. In fact, it was the busiest day of the quarter for earnings, with roughly 11% of the S&P 500 companies reporting. And today traders had the first opportunity to react to Facebook earnings, which were reported last night after the bell. As we mentioned with Facebook, revenue jumped 48%, largely due to higher priced ads, and this sent the stock higher, finishing today up 7.3%. Another big earnings report this week, Apple. Need to take another look at this. It was reported after the bell yesterday. Today was the day that traders did have an opportunity to react, and Apple opened up strong, was trading around $136 a share, ended up the day down slightly lower, just below break even though blockbuster earnings for Apple, reporting better than expected earnings, saying sales jumped 54% during the quarter, which was huge, helped out by iPhone revenue. They also increased their dividend by 7%, and the company authorized a $90 billion share buyback plan. So Apple ended up slightly down, probably because it was great news, maybe a little profit taking, but starting the day up nicely. Now, today, the big focus after the bell was on Amazon. Let's bring up Amazon, see where it's at after hours. So Amazon was up 0.4% during the day, heading into earnings, and after the bell, Amazon reported numbers crushing analyst expectations, with sales surging 44%. Earnings were up $15.79 per share versus a $9.54 expectation, and revenue was up $4 billion more than expected. Amazon is now up just shy of 4% in after-hours trading. So what can we expect for the remainder of the week? Well, earnings really lighten up on Fridays, but we actually have Chevron and Exxon reporting before the market open tomorrow, and things are pretty quiet for the economic calendar. We see that on Friday there are no major reports tomorrow, so really it's still about earnings and digesting the news this week, heading into a decent week for the economic calendar next week, where we'll get the jobs report on Friday. So this wraps up today's stock market update in just over 5 minutes. Keep in mind, trade what you see, not what you think, and we'll see you next time.